And I feel like, especially for Black creatives, films like him don't often come around sometimes, especially in more recent years with a lot of the work that Monkey Paw is doing. But essentially, like, Black actors don't get the time to extend into roles and projects like this. So for the both of you, Marlon, you being an iconic mainstay of Black Hollywood, being able to usher in someone like Tyriq in one of his major film roles so far, and for you kind of conversely, being able to work with him on a major project for you, how did you both navigate the feelings of being in a project as important as this would mean for so many people?
We dove into everything, dove into the characters, we dove into training, we dove into the spirit of the movie, we dove into the director's vision, we dove in kind of to each other in terms of big brother, little brother, and instantly, I knew this was going to be special. So it's about assigning yourself to the greatness of the movie and you playing your role as best you can.
I think for me, I walk with a certain level of privilege, being mixed, being Black and white. I do have the white privilege, but to be cast into this role as quarterback and to be alongside somebody who I've looked up to my entire life as a leading man, getting to see him develop into the dramatic actor that I know he is, has been a dream come true. And, I'm grateful that this story is one that is about somebody chasing greatness, because I think it transcends the football, but rather than the things that we have to go through to get there. So.
And for our culture, in terms of both of us, African Americans, right? And the youth, the minorities, right? Everybody needs to see this because it's what you have to do and what you have to sacrifice to be great. And I think it's important that you support stories that reflect your personal experience. And I think this one's for that crop of kid,
And this is a mentor / protege relationship that has a lot of nuances, because I feel like there's both fear within that, but there's also this admiration within that. It's different levels of it. So when you were diving into these characters, how did you make sure that balance was there to depict? There were so many places where he could be afraid, and he afraid in different ways, but also having that admiration at the same time with these characters.
I think if you want to have a textured, layered performance, your character has to be this, yet that. Isaiah is very confident, even arrogant, because he's insecure. Right? So yet insecure, and that insecure, he only has this arrogance because he's insecure. And when he can't feed the arrogance no more because the insecurity is eating, that's when you see the true Isaiah. And I think we did that with a lot of different values of the character.
Yeah, I think that's the duality of being great too. On one side of the spectrum, it's very, very lonely because yes, this young quarterback is coming into my compound because he admires my work, he's a fan of my work. But also, I think there's moments where reading the script, I know Isaiah is probably even more scared than me. And throughout this film, you see that develop and that bubble up. And I think, as an athlete, or somebody chasing greatness, I think this movie just shines light on that loneliness because, yes, people can just praise you for so long, but people want to be better than you. They want to beat you out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, and for Cam, it's you start out, I want to be like him. Then you go, let's get rid of the like. I don't like him anymore. Now I want to be him. And after you want to be him, I want to be better than him. I want to be him.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see this film again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
I think when we look at her from face value, you would think that she could potentially fall into what may be a trope of the supportive wife, especially when it comes into sports media. As we go through this film, you see she kind of bucks the trend of what you would assume would be a supportive wife of an athlete. But how do you think this character is so different from what one would expect from her?
I think that what sets Elsie apart is that she really doesn't want to be like the other WAGs. I think she does everything in her power to kind of set herself apart from them. And, we see that in even the way that she presents herself. It's very different from your typical idea of, you know, a wag that you would see on like Basketball Wives
Yeah.
or, you know, one of those shows. She's very much carving out her own lane and wants to be a goat in her own right. She's building her own empire and independently of him. And I think she, you know, even during the film, you know, we see Isaiah's, he's pretty much always home doing his little things and his little weird hobbies, and she's everywhere, you know. She's getting on the plane and she's, you know, making whatever, she has her assistant and she's busy, and so I found her to be very empowering.
Marlon Wayans is such a comedy legend, and like this is one of his most multifaceted roles to date. What was it like working with him, especially on a film that's kind of like against type of what we would expect from him as well?
Surreal, definitely. I grew up watching his films, you know, quoting them and referencing them, and I've gone to see him perform live at his comedy shows, and so to then be like working with him is just like, how did it get here? Like, who fucked up? How am I here right now? Like, this is crazy, you know? And just to be able to share the screen with him just feels like definitely like bucket list level shit for sure.
Yeah, and after this, we need the Scary Movie cameo. After this,
Yes!
let's go ahead and get that.
We
get that
need
over.
another scary movie. It's long overdue.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. Can't wait for more people to see this film, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.